Welcome to Kim's Crafting Corner. And today I'm going to take you on a walkthrough of Design Space. Now, if you've just gotten your Cricut machine and you're looking at it and you're going, now what? How do I even begin? This video is for you. So I'm going to share my screen here. And you're going to see I have lots of things on my computer. I do run businesses. So we're going to open up Cricut Design Space. And you will notice, if I'm assuming when you're watching this video, you've already set up Cricut Design Space and you already set up your Cricut machine. You're now looking to use it to make a project. So I'm going to make it bigger here. And if you set it up, it should say your name. It might ask you to sign in. So you might have to sign in to your Cricut account. All right, so we're on the sort of home page here of your Cricut Design Space. And you'll see that they've got advertisements here. They've got my projects. So these are all the things. Now I do have the higher end Cricut Access account. So I may be able to see more projects than you because I can save a lot more. But any projects that you've been currently working on will show on that first screen. And then if you scan down as well, they've got some learning videos. And then you can also see some current projects that are available. And the ones with A means you have to have Cricut access to do them. But it's really nice because, you know, if you're just looking for a project, they've got tons of them. And so it's a really great place to start if you want it. And, you know, check it out because the prices sometimes are pretty reasonable. And one of the things that I really like about it is the discounts that you get on Cricut.com. I have found the discounts have been worth way more than anything than I have paid for my yearly access. All right, so now you want to start your first project. Woo! So excited. And I want to share with you the fact that, you know, I was so excited. I got my Cricut machine, I got it set up, and I just stared at Cricut Design Space, and I had no clue whatsoever what I was doing. Now, thankfully, my best friend who had a Cricut machine for a couple of years, I called her and I'm like, Juanita, I don't know what I'm doing. Help me. So she did. So hopefully this video today is going to help you get through those first steps. So what you want to do is you want to go in and you just want to click here where it says new project, or up here in the corner where it says new project. I usually click down here. Now, the first thing you're going to see is you've got, you know, you've got things down the left, you got things across, and you've got things down the right. And we're going to go through all the basics. There's some advanced features in here that we're not going to cover today. I'm going to cover those in later videos. So first of all, let's take a look at the main area here, and it's gridded. I love the grids. I love having the numbers and the grids. Not everybody does. So you can actually go here and just take out all the grids. But for my purposes, and usually because I'm creating designs with, you know, specific sizing for specific things, I love this grid. And for me, it's just makes my life easier, but whatever floats your boat. Now you're going to go down here and you're going to see down the left-hand side here. The first one here is templates. Now, this is nice if you're making something and you just want to kind of get a sense of, you know, how something's going to fit in. So in this case, let's take a look and, oh, let's just use the clipboard one. So you'll see up here, it says templates are for reference only and will not be saved. They also are not cut. Now, I do not see it sitting here. Interesting. Let's try a different one. Classic t-shirts. There we go. All right. So this is strictly for your reference only. It's not going to be cut out at all. It's not going to be included in your project. This is just so you can create something and have a reference as a guide to be able to help you size things correctly. So if you don't need it, don't use it. If you do need it, great, it's there for you. So in this case, I'm just going to hit delete. So now we've looked at templates. We can look at projects. So again, these are the projects that Cricut has available for you. And you can search products by categories, and you can search by free. And they are free and free for Explorer and all of those as well. So you can, there are free projects that you can do. And if you want to do any of these projects, you can just click on them and then they will upload into. But for today's one, we're not actually doing a project. We're just looking at using Design Space. So I will be doing other videos with simple projects for beginners. Now, the next one down is images. So this is a massive collection. Again, if you're an Access member, you get way more than if you're just a free member. But there's lots of things that you can look at. So you can look at images by project type. You can look at images by the operation, which we're going to get to in a few minutes. So here's the place where you can come in. If you want to just add an image into your design, this is a great library for you to be able to reference. Next is the text feature. And I'm actually going to cover how to use text at the end of this video. We also have shapes. These come in incredibly handy, especially when you're cutting something or you need, to do something. A lot of times when I'm doing mugs, I want a specific rectangle so that I can place everything in. And so you have all of those shapes there as well. Now, where we're going to focus in on, and the other thing in the shapes is the score line. So if you're making cards or something that you need to fold and you want that kind of dented line in to make it easier to fold, that's called a score line. Now, the main thing I want to show you here is upload. This is one of the features that you're going to be using the most. So you're going to be using upload, shapes, text, probably the three most ones, and then probably images, projects, and templates. So they really should actually have the buttons from the top down, starting with upload, because that's the one that you are going to use the most. Now, where do you get your designs from? Lots of different places. So two of my favorite places before I started designing my own designs were www.designbundles.net and creativefabrica.com. And I'm going to have those links for you in the show notes. But I also want to encourage you to check out my RTI craft store on Etsy, because I have an ever-growing list of designs available for you there. I also have a free membership where you can get a new design each week. And the link for that is in the show notes. So right now we're going to go and I'm going to show you how to upload an image. So you've gone to one of these places, you've purchased them. Now here's the thing. When you're going to purchase designs, make sure that they have it in SVG and PNG format. Now, those are two different types of formats that images come in. Now, there's a lot of other ones, but for Cricut Design Space, those are the two main ones that you're looking for. You can also use JPEGs, though they're not quite as effective as using PNGs and SVGs for your Cricut designs. So we're going to go here. I'm going to upload an image. So you click upload image. You're going to click browse. And here we go. We have Welcome Autumn. This was one I had already pulled up, so that's why it came up. Otherwise, you just go through your files and pull up the one you want. Now, this is a file that I've given away free on my free membership, the Kim's Crafting Corner membership. And like I said, the link is below. So in this case, we want to upload the SVG, and you can't really see it, but if you hover your mouse over it, it says Scalable Vector Graphics. Now, the other thing I need to mention is I am filming this on a laptop. You can use Cricut Design Space on your phone and on your tablet, but there's a lot of features that you will not have if you use it. So I recommend using it on a laptop, a desktop, you know, your Mac computer. One of those is better than the tablet or phone. But if that's all you have, you can still do it. So you'll see here when I hover the mouse over that it says Scalable Vector Graphics. So that's SVG. So we're just going to click on it here, and we'll go back afterwards and I'll show you how to upload the PNG. I'm going to open it. And you see, all nice and ready to go. That's the nice thing about SVGs is there's not a lot of work required. When you upload PNGs, you have to make sure that the background has been deleted. And if it's not, you've got to manually delete the background. But with an SVG, they usually come with a transparent background. That's why you're seeing this checkerboard. It means it's transparent. And SVGs are really good if you just want a cut image. If you're looking at print and cut, then you're going to want to use a PNG. So in this case, we're just going to do a basic cut of vinyl or of paper or whatever else, but usually it's going to be vinyl. So we're just you're going to come down here and you're going to click on upload. Yay! Step one done. Now, if you want to bring that in to work on, you just click on it. So it's highlighted. You come down here and you click on insert images. And now you'll see it's all nicely sitting there for you to use. Now let's take a look at some of the things that you can do with this image. Now, let's say you want to put it on something and this design is too big. And pretty well anytime you upload an SVG, you're going to have to adjust the size. So if you go up here, you're going to see size. Sometimes you won't see size. You'll see a little more button with 3 dots. So you click on that and the size will come up. Now you see there's a little lock button here. Unless you specifically want to change the proportions of the thing, so make it either like a lot taller or wider, keep that locked. And what you can do is just come down here. So let's say you want it needs to be 3 inches wide. So there you go. It's now made it 3 inches wide. So you can, so let's see what just happens here. So let's say you accidentally unlock it and you know, you do this. And you're like, oh darn, what did I do? Well, thankfully, there is over here the undo button. So whenever you do something and you're not sure about it and you think you did something wrong, just hit the undo button. So this case will. All right, so we're going to bring it back down to the 3. We're going to click on it and it is locked. So we're good. That's good. Now let's take a look at some of the things here. So going across here at the top, we've got basic cut. So you could cut this. You could also draw this. So with a pen. So you can use the Cricut markers with it. You can also use the Cricut infusible markers with this. Excuse me. But you can also use regular markers. And I've got actually some here. So these are just from the dollar store, and you need an adapter. Now you can buy adapters off of Amazon for your Cricut machine for the markers, but you can also take a pen grip. So you know the things you put on the pens that hold it while you're writing. Slice it up and put it around the marker and put it in your machine. Pull out the in the A slot, there's a thing that pops out. You want to pop that out, put the pen in. But I would test it out first on just blank pieces of paper as opposed to a project that you're working on. So you could draw this. Now, understanding that with the drawing, it does not fill things in. So it's only going to draw the outline of things. So if you want to, you know, do that and color, you'd have to color it in manually if you wanted it colored in. Foil. Now, foil is a method where you have to have a special housing and it's not really a blade, but a special housing with special tips. So this here is the foil transfer housing, and it comes with 3 different tips. And you can tell, I don't know if you can see that there, but there's lines here, and that tells you whether it's fine, medium, or bold. So you can't use the foil transfer without the special housing, and you also have to have the special foil paper. So right now, that's not really a beginner project. I've been doing this for a while, and I'm still have days where I fight with the foil. Now, my best friend Juanita, she loves the foil, but I have not found it to be beginner friendly. But I just wanted to let you know that it was there. And of course, the score lines. We also have print and cut. So you can change this to a print and cut design so that it will print it out and then cut it out. But in this case, we just want to keep to a standard basic cut. And a lot of times that's the feature that you're going to be using, is the cut feature. So now we've got it, we've sized it. I'm just going to quickly show you. Let's say that we added a shape in. So just so I can show you in the next feature. So we're going to do a square, and that works. So we're going to, and you can change the colors of things. So let's say you do a square and you want to be able to see what's behind it. You can change the color of the square. All right. So now here is where you can use some of the other features. Here, the arrange. So we want to send this square to the back so that we can see it. Another feature is flip. So let's say that you're doing a design, and there's a lot of designs where you have to mirror it. That means you have to flip it over so that when you put it on what it needs to be, it's going to show up correctly. And one of the places that you will see that is when you're making mugs. You need to mirror the design so that when you put it on the mug, people can see it properly. So you can flip it. Now you can also do it. Sorry, I didn't click on it. Then flip horizontally. Okay, but for today, we're just going to keep it. Now, let's say you want to center this in the box. What you're going to do is come from the outside. You're just going to highlight the whole thing. You're going to come over here to align, and there's lots of different options. So we're just going to align it in the center. So it is now aligned together. And say you wanted to cut this box out. You would need, or it would work better if you grouped it together. So you can also hit select all, and you can hit group. All right, it's now grouped these two together, and when you move them, they move together as a group. But let's ungroup this here. I'm now going to take, and I'm going to delete the box because we don't need it. All right, so now you have the design, and if you come over here to the right-hand side, you're going to see where it says grouped. Now, let's say you really like the Welcome Autumn, but you don't like these leaves. Now, some designs come fully together. You cannot ungroup them, okay? Some designs you can, and you don't really know until you've bought the design and you try to group or ungroup it, unfortunately. But in this case, we're going to click on this, and we're going to come up here, and we want to ungroup it because we want to be able to access the different parts of the design. So we're going to hit ungroup. So now each piece is a thing on its own. So let's say you wanted to get rid of these two. You could either manually go up and hit delete, or let's say you just wanted to kind of test out the design. You're not sure whether you want to keep them or not. You can come over here to the eye and just click on the eye and remove them. So now they're still sitting there, but they're not part of the design that's going to be cut. So we're like, okay, I kind of like that, but I think I like it better with the leaves. So you just hit the eyes and they're back again. Let's say you want to change the color. So in this case, you can see Welcome Autumn is grouped together. Or sorry, the welcome is grouped together and then the autumn is grouped together. So you can actually go back in as well and ungroup those so you have the individual letters. But let's say you're making a layered design. Now, to be honest, you don't have to color things in. If this is all a one color vinyl design, you don't have to change anything. If you're going to be using different colors and you need to cut them out separately, then you're probably going to want to color it. So we can make it a color. And let's make these green. All right, at this point, let's say we are ready to make our project. So you're going to want to go up, you're going to want to select all. Sorry, if you hit attach, sorry. Undo. If it's all one color, which I'll show you in a minute, but right now we've got different colors. So we're going to come up and we're going to hit make it. And you're going to see here, look at this. You see the autumn, they just put all the letters weirdly, same with welcome, and those two are fine. So what happened is we did not attach each of these individual ones. They were grouped. So what you want to do is welcome, you want to hit attach individually, autumn, attach, and then these were already separate by themselves. Now, when you go up to make it, you're going to see that the autumn looks correct and the welcome looks correct. So anything that you need cut together, you need to make sure that you attach it. Now we're going to come back here. I'm going to hit cancel. And we are going to just put this all back into straight black. I need to show you the next step. So let's say your design is all one color. And even if it's all grouped together, you still need to attach the whole thing so that it cuts like this, as opposed to cutting it in pieces and individual letters. So you're going to hit select all. You're going to come down here to the bottom right-hand corner, hit attach. Now, when you come up to the make it, you're going to see it's all together. Now, if you want to not have your vinyl up in the top hand corner here, so let's say this Cricut mat here. Okay, that's one of my older ones. Take the plastic sheet off. Say you've got a mat that you've used and you don't want to just put it up in the same corner all the time, because then that one corner gets less sticky. So you can actually do it this way, or you can flip it, around 180 degrees and use it from the top here. So when you are going to put your design on, maybe you need to have your vinyl in a different place on the mat. So if you click on it, you can move it and place it where you want to go on the mat. Now, they always leave a little bit of a reserve on each side. So, you can only go up to there. You can't go right fully into the corner. So we're just going to place it here. Let's say you're doing a mug and you forgot to flip it. So here is the mirror button. So you can mirror it. It's also showing you the mat size. So here is 12 by 12. With the Cricut Explorer 2, which is what this machine is, you can also do the 12 by 24 mat if you have design that's bigger than the 12 by 12. You can also do project quantities, copies. So let's say that you wanted, you know, you had something that was really filling the screen and you can only fit one per mat, you can actually change how many mats. So you can click apply. Oh, it just did it here. Usually what would happen is it would, if it was big enough that it took up the whole mat, it would actually add more mats here. So we're just going to bring this down to 1. You're going to hit continue. Now it's going to connect to your machine and it depends on how you have it. You can do it through Bluetooth or you can do it through the USB cable. Because this is my actually main office computer, I run a publishing company, but this computer here is my best one for doing Zoom videos. So I brought it down into my craft area. I'm using the USB. Now on my little crafting computer, I use the Bluetooth. So now you've seen it's connected to the machine, and every once in a while it might not connect. So make sure, you know, especially if you're doing it by Bluetooth, it may not connect. Make sure your Bluetooth is on. Make sure that it's paired. Occasionally you may have to just shut everything down and start fresh again. And then, you know, set your Bluetooth up first, turn the machine on, let them find each other in the Bluetooth settings before coming into Design Space. So now on this screen here is where you're going to pick the material that's going to be cut. And it's really important that you find the correct connection and use the right material settings. Now on my Cricut Explore Air 2, I have the dial. And if you look at your Cricut machine, there's a dial there. Mine's set to custom. If you move it on the dial, it switches it here. But I like keeping it set to custom, and I like choosing my materials from this screen as opposed to the dial on the Cricut Explore Air. And you can see you have lots of different choices here. Let's say that you can't find the material that you're using for. So if you're using any type of permanent vinyl, either the Cricut, the Silhouette, the Oracal, premium vinyl setting is good. And I am doing a video comparing the 3 vinyls to let you know the strengths and weaknesses of each one so that you can choose the right brand for your project. But let's say here, now you see these little stars. They came up because these are the ones I use all the time, and I starred them so that they would always come up here. So you may have to go in the beginning to browse all materials, and then you can either scan down this way, or the faster way is just to type into the search what you're looking for. But for your first projects, I suggest that you stick to paper and vinyl. They are the easiest ones to work with. So we're going to hit premium vinyl. In most cases, I have found that I use the more pressure. So I just automatically set it to more. Now, here's one thing I want to tell you. When you were first doing your Cricut projects, you're going to fail at things. You're going to make mistakes. Things are not going to turn out the way that you want. So what I highly suggest is get a bit of vinyl, get a bit of cardstock, and just play around with it without creating any projects. I just dove in and started creating projects and got very frustrated when I had no clue what I was doing and it wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing and the projects got ruined. I really wish I had spent the time just playing around with the vinyl, playing around with cardstock first, getting it cut, getting it off the mat, you know, those types of things. Practice using transfer paper. That would have made life so much easier. Now I am going to do a video, and it's going to be a part of my free, it is a part of my free membership because I'm recording it right after this and it's going into the free membership this week, where I show you a first vinyl project and how to decorate your Cricut machine. So if you want a really great first project, and I'm going to show you how to use transfer paper and all of the kind of stuff and some basic weeding, then you're going to want to join my membership. The link is below. And if you've been enjoying this video, if you found it helpful and useful, can you just give a little boop to the like button for me, please? I really appreciate it. It helps me out and helps spread the words about these videos to other people who are new to using their Cricut machines. So now you have set it to more. And at this point, I can't really show you because I'm using screen share, but you're going to take the vinyl, you're going to put it on your mat, and you're going to make sure that the vinyl covers the design, because otherwise all this is going to do is cut your mat, and you don't want to do that. Now, a quick word on Cricut mats, on your mats. I have Cricut ones. I also have ones from a company called Real Light, which are cheaper than the Cricut ones, and they work just as well. I got those on Amazon. But with your Cricut Access, occasionally Cricut has deals, and they had a deal. So I stocked up on the standard ones. I got a whole ton of them because you are going to go through them. Now, there are ways of, you know, when they lose their stickiness, you can clean them with a baby wipe, give them a good cleaning. They do get dirty. They catch hair and dust and things. So you do want to give them a cleaning from time to time. You always want to make sure that you use your plastic on top to keep them clean so they don't get really dusty. But if they start to lose their stickiness, give them a good cleaning with a baby wipe, let them dry, and you'll find a lot of the stickiness comes back. Now, sometimes too, new mats can be pretty sticky. So you're going to want to be careful when you're using your new mat, trying to remove things. And if you join the membership and you watch the video on the first project, I'm going to show you how to remove things off of your mats. So in this case, you've put your vinyl on your mat. You're now going to go over to your machine, and you're just going to place the mat in between the two little, what's the best name for it? Guides. There's two guides there on either side. You're just going to put it in, and then you're going to hit the arrow. There's a up, down arrow button that flashes. You're just going to click that, and you heard the machine loading it in. And then you want to hit the C for Cricut, and it will start your cutting, and it will cut it through. Now, just a couple of things to note when you're putting your mat into the machine. Make sure you put it in evenly, that it loads properly. If for some reason something goes wrong, you can hit, there's a pause button. If you need to take it out, you know, things start to jam, it's not cutting properly, you need to stop, hit the pause, hit the arrow buttons, it will unload the mat for you. All right, so now I'm going to actually unload the mat here. And here's a little hint and tip for you. A great storage plate for your mats is right underneath your Cricut. They fit perfectly. So I want to come back out here. I'm just going to hit cancel. And I want to show you a few other features of Cricut Design Space. All right, so now we're back. Let's say you want to add some text to this. So maybe 2021. So if you hit the text button here, you can type in 2021. And obviously you're going to move it down here. And now you can resize it. Now in the font section, you can come here, you can change the font. Cricut has a lot of different fonts. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. If you have fonts on your computer, you can come up here to your system and just click the system font, and that will just show you the fonts that are on your system. And I have a ton of them because I do a lot of different designs. So your computer may not have as much, but if there is a font that you like on your computer, you can access it through Cricut Design Space. Now, you can also search for the font by name. So if you know the name of the font, you can look for it. Now, only kerned fonts. Kerned fonts are fonts that join together, especially in script writing. So if you see here, this one here is script writing. It joins the letters together automatically. If a font's not kerned, the letters are actually separated and you have to manually put them together and weld them. It adds an extra step. And you could possibly cut it out and not have your letters all attached together. I've had that happen quite a few times. That was one of the mistakes I made in the beginning. Now, this only kerned fonts is a newer feature. Came out after I got my machine and learned all these things. So just keep the kerned fonts checked until you're more comfortable. There may come a time when you want to use them unkerned and move them around and do different things, and that's cool. But in the beginning, just keep that checked. So we're just going to, I'm going to go back here to the Cricut ones. And let's just choose one. Now there's also different fonts. Oops. There we go. Took a moment there. So there's also different fonts for different things. There's writing fonts, there's cutting fonts, there's print then cut fonts. So you want to go through and make sure that you've chosen the right kind of font. If you're cutting, you do not want a very thin lined cut. So see this one here? Now that's pretty big, but if we bring it down smaller like this to fit underneath here, that it will cut, but that is going to be a royal pain to try and weed, and it may not cut properly because the lines are just so thin, because you remember it's cutting around the edge of it, right? So save yourself some time and some hassle and some heartache and some possible swear words, and just don't use fonts like that. It's going to make your life happier. So we want to just click undo here. Yay. Okay. So in this case, we're just going to make it black because we want it to match the color, because we want it to be all one color. And there's lots of different ways that you can size it. So you can come here up to font size and click up and down. You can also type in the number that you want. You can make it larger, smaller with the pull down arrows here. And again, this is locked so that it stays proportionate. You can unlock it, make it longer, you know, fatter, whatever you want. We're just going to bring this down so it kind of fits in there. All right, now letter space. This one here, you know, if you're using a kerned font, you don't want to play around with the letter space because it can separate things. But let's say here I'm thinking, oh, you know what, those letters are just a little bit too far apart. So you can come down, click down, and just bring them a little closer together. You can bring them farther apart. Let's say you have 2 lines of text and you want to increase or decrease the space between the lines. You can do that. Let's say you have a bunch of text. You can align it so that it all starts on the left-hand side, it all starts in the center, or it all starts on the right-hand side. I probably did that backwards for you guys, but you know what I'm saying. Let's say you want to curve this. So you can come in and you can hit the curve, and you can move the dial here to curve it however much you want, and you can curve it up as well. So in this case, there, we want 0. And the advanced stuff I wouldn't get into right now, so you can ungroup it so it's just 2 letters, and there's some different features depending on what you're doing. So let's say you've got this now, and we want to center this horizontally. So let's say we got in here, but you kind of got it like this. You're like, okay. You can go, you can highlight the whole thing, hit the align button, and hit center horizontally. It is now all centered. If you want to cut it all together, you would need to hit select all, attach, and then you're going to click on make it. And I've already walked you through that process, so we won't go through that whole thing again, but you can see the whole design is nicely here. So there's one more thing I want to show you before we end the video, and that is just working with images. So I'm going to take this here, detach it first, and then I can delete. working with images. So let's just make it easy and click enjoy and insert images. All right, now this is the same as before. It's all images, but in this case, you can ungroup it so that you've got the different layers. And if you were doing something like this and you wanted to cut it, if you just hit make it, it's going to keep the letters together, but it's going to show you each layer. And what I would recommend is if you're doing something like this in different colors and you have to layer it, cut it like this, because it's going to make it easier, especially the main one like that, because then it allows you to keep those pieces and kind of center them in, but keep that piece the way it is. All right, at this point, we have covered all the basics of Cricut Design Space, and I will be doing the more advanced features and techniques in different videos, but this is enough to get you started doing your first project. And if you're looking for some great project ideas with videos, don't forget to join my membership. So you're going to get a free design each week. You get tutorial videos, you get how-to videos. I have lots of resources on there. Also, I do projects, so you can watch and work with me while you do these projects. And I am, over the next few weeks, going to be doing a series of beginner projects. You can also find us on YouTube at Kim's Crafting Corner. So I want to thank you for watching today. I hope that you have enjoyed this. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to boop the like button. Have a great day, everyone.